that I appreciate their commitment to the community, but the fact that we all come with different opinions and we don't always agree, but we do so in a civil and a cordial manner, and we realize that at the end of the day, everyone is here for a better Daytona Beach. And, so I appreciate the commission that we have right now.
It's a great commission. So, Mayor, look into your crystal ball and tell your constituents what you see for the future of the world's most famous beach.
Well, I see continued emphasis on making Daytona Beach a beautiful destination for residents and visitors. I see a more enlightened boardwalk area, and I'm just a person that's always real. Our beach is the greatest, prettiest, but our boardwalk needs an overhaul. And so our objective is to find ways to bring in more entertainment to our beach side. I see a more dynamic Main Street, and I see a city that continues to be attractive to residents and attracting people from all across America. I see young people from Bethune-Cookman to Embry-Riddle to Stetson to Daytona State staying closer and realizing that we have opportunities for them right here. But most importantly, I think I see a Daytona Beach that continues to be welcoming, that continues to be a city that aspires and strives to be safe, and that works with our police and law enforcement and young people to make Daytona Beach the great American destination.
Well, Mayor, thank you so much for being on the program today. It's Meet Your Mayor today instead of Meet Your Commissioner, and we look forward to all of the great things that you're going to continue to do as our mayor. You've been watching this edition of Meet Your Commissioner. It's Meet Your Mayor today, and we have, I think, the greatest mayor anywhere in the United States. We hope you keep listening to Channel 490, Daytona Beach Television. We love you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
reconvene the November 12, 2024 City of Daytona Beach Special Magistrate proceedings. At the outset, I've reviewed the October 8, 2024 minutes and approved them and executed them. Do we have any announcements before I get into this morning's agenda?
Nope.
No announcements. Will those representatives for the City of Daytona Beach who will be testifying at this morning's proceedings please stand and be sworn?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay, case number 1, Lauren and Herb Kalwesh. This matter is here for the imposition of a fine. Is there anyone here for the respondent? How about you guys behind the panel? Do we have anybody showing up on Zoom? Okay. All right, not seeing a respondent. What say the city?
All right, this case was, the respondent was first notified May 23rd, 2022. Since the last hearing, we've had contact in progress. A permit for the structural work has been obtained, and the contract signed, and the schedule issued. I would like to amend to the January cutoff.
Okay, based on our inspector's report, I will amend our current amended order of noncompliance to allow the respondent till January 8, 2025 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Thank you. Number 2, Gail Lucinda Smith. Is there anyone here for the respondent? Yes, ma'am. If you would please state your name and be sworn.
Gail Smith.
You might want to lower that microphone. There you go.
Gail Smith.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, this matter is here for the imposition of a fine, so let's hear from our inspector first.
So since the September hearing, I have had contact with the owner. The building has been painted, the soffit and gutters have been fixed, and the permit has been applied for the stairs. So we're asking to amend to the January cutoff.
Okay. The inspector is suggesting that based on the amount of work that's been done and what's left, you ought to be done by January 8th of 2025. What do you think?
Yes, sir.
Very good. All right. Then based on the report of the inspector as well as the respondent, I will amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until January 8, 2025 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Good luck to you.
And thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
Case number 3, Reginald E. and Gwendolyn W. Moore. Anyone here for the respondent? Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
Inspector Itani, code compliance. My credentials are on file. Okay, since the last hearing, I have had contact with the owner. The trash and debris has been removed from the property, and the windows are final inspection as of this morning. So staff's recommending we amend to the January cutoff.
Do we have a previous order scheduling a compliance date in this manner, or am I lost?
So the last hearing, I asked for a November compliance date. But he was going through inspections with the permitting
No,
license.
that's okay. I just got a
Okay.
paperwork problem here.
Oh,
And I'm sure our secretary's getting ready to straighten it out for me.
Yeah, we have a affidavit of noncompliance
Okay.
for November 6th.
Based on our inspector's report, I'm going to
Is it missing?
order the respondent to come into compliance by January, did you say January 8th?
yes, sir.
By January 8, 2025, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Thank you. Case number 4, Seminole Boosters Incorporated.
Yes, Your Honor, I have a Zoom. 1 moment, please.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. You talking to me?
Okay, if you would please state your name and be sworn by our secretary.
Well, I'm waiting for legal to come in. I was told not to be unmuted, to be honest. I'm waiting for him to chime in.
So you're waiting for your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Your Honor, I did have a Bedford, Wilford, but they're not in the waiting room anymore. I think that's what he's referring to.
You're talking about Bedford, Wilford?
Yes, sir.
Our IT person is telling us they are not in the waiting room right now.
Oh, he's trying. I'm having,
He's joining now, it looks like.
Okay? Must be a lonely job these days being a Seminole booster.
Yes, sir.
All right, your time will come. It always does.
there it is.
All right, Counselor, if you would please state your name. Counselor, can you hear me?
He's having audio issues.
Your Honor, this is Bedford Wilder. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I apologize. I thought you were speaking to different counsel in the room.
That's all right. That's all right. Okay. Mr. Non-attorney, what is your name?
This is Colson Hossford with the Seminole Boosters.
Okay. Is he going to be testifying?
I intend to speak for the boosters and am willing to.
If he's going to testify, he has to be sworn. If you're going to take care of it yourself, he doesn't need to.
Correct. I'm going to take care of it myself.
Okay, we're here for the imposition of a fine. Everyone's present. What say the city?
Good morning, John Stinson, Code Inspector with the city. Qualifications on file. We would like to amend this case to the January cutoff, being that they just got possession of the property.
Okay, the city's proposing I extend our current order of noncompliance till January 8th. They tell me you just now got possession of the property. What say the respondent?
The respondent is grateful for that and looks forward to finishing this out.
Very good. All right, then I will amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent till January 8, 2025 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Okay, folks. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Inspector. Take care.
Case number 5, Scott Ibsen. Anyone here for the respondent? Not seeing a respondent. What say the city?
Good morning, John Stinson, Code Inspector. City, my qualifications are on file. This respondent was first notified on May 13th, 2024. They were cited for renovations without permits, exterior wall staining. The permit was returned for incompleteness twice, once on December 8th and once on December 14th. They still have not been issued, and the city is asking for the imposition of a fine for $200 a day to be capped at $15,000.
Okay, noting the absence of the respondent based upon our inspector's testimony and the photographs presented, I'm fining the respondent the sum of $200 per day, commencing October 9, 2020, commencing on October 3, 2024, and that fine will continue to accrue each day thereafter until the property is in compliance or the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000.
You can have one more minute.
No, you'll clarify. We need to correct something on the previous presentation. We'll just clarify for the magistrate.
This is Mr. Ibsen.
Case number 6.
I think there's some lack of clarity as to who the.
I'm sorry, number 5, Mr. Ibsen.
Was and when things actually occurred.
Okay, case 5 is Mr. Ibsen. I've already entered an order. What's up?
We would just like to amend this case to the January cutoff.
Okay,
Clarification, Ms. McKelvey, just for the record, it appears that there's some little bit of confusion as to when there was an ownership change. Mr. Ibsen is the new owner. As you may have, you were to listen back, you'd hear that the inspector indicated that there was some failures that occurred last year. But as you can see, as right now we're indicating a notification date that's later than that, and that's related to the newer owner. So we need some clarification on that, and we'd just like to move it to the next call so we can have that clear for the magistrate.
all right, with regard to case 5, SMG 0924148 Scott Ibsen, I am now vacating the order I just entered, imposing a fine, and instead am ordering that our current order of noncompliance be amended to allow the respondent till January 8, 2025 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Does that take care of that?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Case number 6, Virgil and Ellen Rosenfeld Family Trust, dated June 22, 2005. Ellen Rosenfeld as trustee. Anyone here for the respondent? Not seeing a respondent. What say the city?
Because we would like to vacate the order that was imposing fine to lien, and we'd like to add the new owner and move this case to the January cutoff.
And the new owner is?
Tyler Simmons, TYLORSIMMONS.
Tyler who? Simic?
Simmons, SIMMONS.
That's the actual owner.
That's the new owner, correct, sir?
Okay, so we are wanting me to vacate the order imposing fine lien. Do we have a compliance date that we're operating under, or at what stage is Mr. Simmons interjecting himself?
He should be in compliance by the January cutoff. He just needs to get all his permits finalized.
But I think the question is, we're bringing Mr. Simmons in because he was actually an owner prior to the entry of the order imposing fine lien?
That's correct.
Okay, and that was just something that may have been overlooked or?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, based upon the information provided by our inspector and our city attorney, I am ordering that the order imposing fine lien entered October 23, 2024 be vacated, substituting the new owner, Tyler Simmons, as the respondent, and amending our previous amended order of noncompliance to allow the respondent till January 8, 2025 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Does that cover it?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Case number 7, Ryan Ashley Mowry and Tony Guerra. Anyone here for the respondent? Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
John Stinson, Code Inspector with City. Qualifications are on file. This respondent was first notified on 20 December 2023. There has been very little contact. The property is occupied, and there's been little to no progress. This is concerning the off-site advertising of the golf carts and the various vehicles, slingshots, whatever you call it.
And this is happening at 318 Flushing?
That's one location, yes. That's the main location.
Okay,
That's where the property owner and the business owner resides.
okay.
And we're asking the imposition of a fine of $500 per day until compliance.
They're actually advertising all up and down A1A and different empty locations.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. They are advertising at 318 Flushing, the corner of Williams and North A1A, the corner of Ocean Views and South A1A. So they're advertising at these different locations.
All right, and what is the fine that you're requesting?
For the off-site advertising, as you can see, the phone number on these vehicles are to call to that location, and that's off-site advertising. He actually
Understand,
has
so
to
what's
have
the
it.
fine?
It's $500 a day to be capped at 15.
15,000?
Yes, sir.
This result of numerous complaints.
Absolutely. Police complaints, citizens complaints. They're all over the city.
And this goes back to November of 2023?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Based upon our inspector's testimony, I am fining the respondent the sum of $500 per day. When was the respondent supposed to be in compliance?
Compliance was supposed to be on 3 October 2024.
Commencing October 3, 2024, and the fine will continue to accrue each day thereafter until the respondent is in compliance or the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000. Case number 8, Beach Development Group, LLC.
Good morning, Inspector Quinn with the City of Daytona Beach Code Compliance. This respondent was first notified on April 11th, 2024. In between, there's been an owner change, but since the last hearing, there has been contact with the property owner and the roofing contractor, and they anticipate completion of the roofing project by the end of December, so staff recommends amending compliance to the January cutoff.
Okay, do we have a new owner?
We do, and he understood that he was going to encumber this violation. He's out in California. He was unable to attend today, but he was agreeable to amending to the January cutoff. He says they anticipate being completed. As you can see, most of the roof has been addressed. There's just a little bit towards the end, towards the west end of the building that's left to do.
Are we substituting the new owner? I mean, I'm not making a requirement, I'm just asking.
Yeah, so,
We kind of just did this.
yeah, it just happened, and he was, they were reposted. The property was,
So we recited them?
we recited.
So we don't, the old owner is no longer.
The old owner is no longer, the new owner was posted at the property.
So Beach Development Group LLC is in or out?
That's our owner?
That's our new owner.
That's the new owner.
That's the one we cited, that's the case is built on them alone at this stage. Is that correct?
Actually, that is not correct. So we're going to need to, I was away on vacation when this happened, so
all right.
we're going to vacate to, no, we'll just keep, okay.
Okay.
Well-
I want to know, is Beach Development Group LLC the current owner?
No, they're not the current owner.
But we have a new owner.
But I have a new owner that we've had
New owner's
contact
aware
with.
of the violation.
Yep,
The new owner intends to bring it into compliance.
yes, they're almost,
Discussed him doing that by January 8, 2025.
correct.
All right, I'll go ahead and amend the order.
Okay,
Just
I'll do his notice in the meantime. To update. No. Okay. Sorry. I'll be quiet.
Okay. I will, okay, January 8, 2025?
Yes, sir.
I will amend our current amended order of noncompliance to allow the respondent to come into compliance by January 8, 2025, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. And I just mentioned, if it matters, that if at some point the city wants to substitute the new owner, let me know, and I will consider that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Unless the new owner has already assumed responsibility, with that, I'll leave it alone.
Okay.
Okay. Case number 9, RimSim Incorporated, RIMCIM. Anyone here for the respondent? Okay.
The 10-3.
No.
Inquire.
Is anyone present?
Hello?
Is this, yes, sir, if you would please state your name?
Yes, sir. Michael Aversano.
Mr. Arvesano, we need to be able to see you on screen to be able to see
Okay,
you.
I apologize. I pushed the button. I don't know what I'm doing. Can you bear with me a second while I try and figure this out? I'm so sorry. I apologize. There was a fire drill where I was sitting and Face ID open. Your host has asked you to start the video. Okay. Unmute. Okay. Okay.
See you.
Is that right? I'm sorry.
All right, now we can see you.
I apologize. I'm sorry.
Are you here on behalf of RimSim Incorporated?
Yes, sir, I am.
If you would please state your name and be sworn by our secretary.
Michael Dennis Aversano.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay, this matter is here for the imposition of a fine, so let's hear from our inspector first. Madam Inspector?
This respondent was first notified May 15th, 2024. Since the last hearing, I've had no contact. No permit application has been submitted to the city. Staff recommends a fine of $100 a day with a cap of $15,000.
Okay, what is the current status of compliance? Have they done anything they were told to do? Have they done something?
No, sir.
Is all that trash theirs?
I believe that's from storm damage, yes, but I'm assuming it's from their downstairs apartment.
All right. Exterior stairs, no permit, no rental license. Okay, what say the respondent?
Sir, the rental license was a mistake and it was filed previously, approximately 2 months ago when I was reminded of it. I took care of that. The stairs, because of the hurricane, I was unable to attend to getting the permit done because I had to take care of the safety of the unit and the person that was residing in there. So I am still working on getting the permit applied for, as well as the architect to comply with the proper paperwork, I guess we'll call it, to file with it.
And when do you estimate having a permit?
I'm hoping by the end of this month and having it filed. I'm trying desperately, but unfortunately, we had the hurricane and I have no choice.
Ms. McKelge, I do want to clarify that the only thing that's needed at this point is the permit to be resolved. When the license has been repealed.
All right, then I'm going to amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent till January 8, 2025 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Is it Mr. Aversani?
Yes, sir.
All right, between now and January 8th, I would suggest you keep the inspector informed as to the status of your efforts to get that permit to avoid any future hostilities, let's say.
Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Case number 10, Forsage Miami Incorporated. Anyone here for the respondent?
Good Lord.
Yes, sir. If you would please state your name and be sworn.
Your name? No.
Alexander Fobin.
Spell your last name?
Alexander Fobin.
Spell it.
Forman?
Yes, yes.
Okay, raise your right hand.
Oh, yes,
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, this matter is here for the imposition of a fine, so let's hear from our inspector.
This case was field generated and opened on March 23rd, 2024. The respondent was first notified on March 28th, 2024 for no fence permit. Their permit application was denied on October 1st of 24. I have had contact with the property owner who has had a hard time trying to find a fencing contractor to take this project on currently, but he has agreed to take the fence down until they can get the proper permits submitted. So so staff is recommending amending to the January cutoff to allow them time to remove the fence.
Allow them time to do what?
To remove the fence.
Okay. All right. Mr. Foreman,
Yes,
I guess I'm being told you're supposed to remove the fence and you're supposed to remove it by January 8th, and I guess it stays down until such time as you get your permit. Does that sound about right?
thank you, thank you.
All right. Then, based upon our inspector's report and the stipulation of the respondent, I'm going to amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until January 8, 2025 to come into compliance by removing the fence or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. And none of this in any way prejudices his efforts to obtain the permit to put the fence back up when the time comes.
Thank you.
Good luck to you. Case number 11, Gregory Karpinski. Yes, sir. If you would please state your name and be sworn.
It's Gregory Karpinski.
Raise your hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Karpinski, I believe we're here for a progress report.
Yes.
You've got a laundry list of matters to be attended to. So what progress has been made?
The back, the wooden back deck was cleaned, restored. And the gutters that were hanging with the spouts, that was also addressed to and fixed.
When was the last time you were on the property?
On Saturday,
What's it look like?
the property's clean and he has been working on the back deck and the downspout has been removed and the wires tucked up, but that was the only progress so far, sir.
Okay, so where do we stand on the respondent's prospects as to coming into compliance by March 5th, 2025?
I explained to him that he needs to be working at a much faster pace if he expects to make the March 25, or excuse me, the March 5th compliance date. We had talked extensively about the order and priority of the things that needed to be completed. Mr. Karpinski understood our conversation at the time, so hopefully he'll.
Word to the wise.
Word to the wise, I said, if he doesn't move faster and if he doesn't continue to do something every day, that he's not going to make his compliance date of March 5th.
Refresh my memory. Why did we give him until March 5th to go into compliance to begin with?
Because he explained to you he had gone through, just finished cancer treatments.
Okay. All right, the inspector, we appreciate the effort today, but the concern seems to be whether you're going to be able to complete everything by March 5th, so we're just alerting you to that. You do whatever you need to do, but that was the purpose of the progress report. We have no January meeting. Okay, I tell you what, I'm going to schedule this for another progress report on January 14. And at that point, hopefully you'll be on track to finish by January 5th. So I've heard the progress report. We've heard from our inspector. I have an understanding as to the status and the amount of progress that's been made. I'm going to go ahead and order this matter to be back on our January 14 agenda, so we can have that conversation again and try to keep on track to be completed by March 5th as planned.
Mr.
Okay.
Couch, I believe that you already ordered it to come back on the.
January.
Did I?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the order, yes.
Sure did. Okay. Forget everything I just said. It's already on the book. All right, good luck to you, Mr. Karpinski. Case number 12, Daytona Blue Tide Group LP. Mr. Hopkins, if you would please state your name and be sworn.
Joe Hopkins.
Do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Impose fine. Further ordered progress report on permit. All right, I guess I'll let our inspector explain all that to me.
Inspector Bostwick, City of Daytona Beach, credentials on file. The last time we were here, the company was trying to decide if they were going to move forward on this project. And if they weren't, they were going to start to clean up the project, which they have started to move some equipment from the main site over, towards the north a little bit. Now, what they have not done, they have not cut the grass at all, as you can see. Okay, I have some more recent pictures from. That's what they have done on August the 7th, October the 7th. They have started to move some of the stuff over, but they have not taken care of the landscaping at all. I've had no communication with the company until I spoke to Mr. Hopkins this morning, and he said he was unaware that they had to clean up the grass area. Those pictures right there show that they did start to move some of the equipment off.
So is our future marina on its way to becoming another illustrious vacant lot?
It's still on the horizon, sir. Yes.
Horizon?
Yes.
My projected life expectancy takes me till 83. Does the horizon precede that?
Well, there's two things in play here. With regard to the cleanup, I think they've made significant efforts so far. The fence has been reestablished, the screen's been reestablished, and the site's been cleaned up pretty significantly. I agree with Mr. Bostwick. If the northern section has not been mowed, we're going to get to that right away. With regard to the permit and the mobilization, I just received an email from the chief of the Corps of Engineers stating that we'll hear no later than Friday the status of us going forward with the dredge project. So
With the what now?
dredge, which is part and parcel with that equipment's been mobilized to the site for. So I've been at the mercy of the Corps of Engineers for 8 months, so I'm going to hear no later than Friday on an update.
So is this, and I'm just being nosy, part of Corps of Engineer thing, an existential determination?
No, it's just a green light to pull the permit. We're authorized by the state, by the Water Management District, with the city and the Corps of Engineers to do a dredge project. And this is the site, the transfer site that we've identified and all the permitting that's been done so far. So the Corps is extending the permit, and we're waiting on that authorization to be able to go forward with the dredge project.
Okay, so what is it you're looking for right now?
As of right now, we were looking for a fine of $250 a day with a max fine of $50,000.
Okay, and you, all right, and your response?
We're going to continue to clean up the site, and we began to mobilize some of the equipment to the north section. I'll follow up with the contractor to make sure that that gets done. And I can.
Cleaned up by January 8th?
I'm sure we can, yes.
And, okay, so I say clean it up by January 8th. Corps of Engineer says what you would like to hear. How does that impact my order here?
Well, the mobilization of the equipment, I think, has been part of the issue. That it's been, the site's essentially been stagnant. So if we get the green light from the Corps to go forward with the dredge, then we would activate the site for the dredge.
All right, well, one step at a time. I'm going to go ahead and amend our current order of noncompliance. Okay, is your concern with the landscape and the cleanup just one of multiple things they have to do? So am I addressing this thing piecemeal, or I don't know what the whole violation was.
The whole violation was there were no permits open for the project, and the project had just been stagnant for months. So it was pretty much commercial vehicles, supplies, everything else parked on a vacant lot. So if they're not doing the work, all that stuff needs to go.
Well, I can see all that stuff's gone every time I come down Broadway Bridge.
Well, some of it is still there.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
And then the lot to the north of the area, that lot hasn't been cut in, as you can see right there. That the grass area has not been cut in maybe 3 or 4 months.
Okay, so for the purpose of the order that you're looking for now, it doesn't sound like I'm addressing the entire notice of violation. So you tell me what it is I'm telling him to have done by January 8th.
I need to have the grass area on Heron cleaned up, cut, all the trash and debris, refrigerators, et cetera, that's been dumped on the lot needs to be removed. The commercial part of the project, I guess just to keep it clean and keep it looking orderly until you guys figure out what you're gonna do going forward with the project.
All right, so it sounds as though I'm ordering this respondent to clean and maintain the site, in particular the landscaping, and do so by January 8, 2025, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter.
And also get their permits for the lot if they're gonna continue with their project.
Mr. McCalge, if I can, it's really a continuation of your prior order. Your prior order was that that they bring all matters other than the permit application into compliance by the November date was your prior order.
Okay, very good. Then I'm just amending our corrected order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until January 8 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter.
So just clarification, what's still open is the permit issue.
That's without any prejudice whatsoever.
No time on that right now.
I'm not making any determination with regard to the permit application. I'm not doing anything to prejudice the status of the permit application. 10-4?
Fair. Thank you.
Case number 13, Michael D. Eady and Julie A. Herbart Eady. Yes, sir, if you would please state your name and be sworn.
Michael Eady?
Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
This matter is here for the imposition of a fine, so let's hear from our inspector.
Our respondent was first notified on February 7th of 2024. Since last month's hearing, there's been lots of communication with Mr. Eady. The permit was revised by the city to reflect new conditions to meet zoning requirements. I would like to amend to the January hearing to give Mr. Eady and the permit department some time to finalize the project.
What is the project?
Project is the installation of that fence and
So the fence, the original project was to remove and replace the fence, and then I made amendments to put a fence on a vacant lot, which caused a bunch of problems that we've previously dealt with. We are on our final inspection right now. The final inspection failed because the inspector looked at the repaired fence and claimed that it was not on the permit, which he was absolutely right because it was a repair. He noted a couple of things that were wrong with it. I worked with the permitting office. They worked with zoning, and they came back and said everything's fine with constraints. And the constraint was that the fence had to be less than 8 foot along the back. Because of an elevation issue where the three properties meet, that had to be addressed. It got pushed back a little bit from Milton. I'm almost done with the project, and then I'll call for reinspection, and hopefully this project will be put to bed, and I'll be completely compliant.
Okay, so what were you suggesting, January 8th?
yes, sir.
And what say you to that?
That's fair.
All right, based upon the report of our inspector and the response from the respondent, I'm going to amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent till January 8, 2025 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Good luck
Okay.
to you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Case number 14, Larry and Shirley Johnson. Anyone here for the respondent? Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
All right, respondent was first notified on May 2nd of 2024. Since last month's hearing, there's been no contact with the property owner. However, the property owner has agreed to have the property demolished, and the city, the building department, is still trying to schedule the date for the demolition. So staff would like to amend to the January cutoff.
Okay, based upon the report of our inspector, I'm going to amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until January 8, 2025 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Case number 15, Destiny L. Bonner. Anyone here for the respondent?
She will be right back. She had to make a restroom break. If we could possibly skip her case and go to the next one.
Case number 16.
Oh, wait.
She's here.
Back.
Yes, ma'am. If you would please state your name and be sworn.
Destiny Bonner.
Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Matters here for the imposition of a fine, so let's hear from our inspector.
Mark Jones, Field Supervisor, City of Daytona Beach. My credentials are on file. The respondent was first notified on March 25th, 2024. Since the last hearing on September 10th, 2024, I have been in contact with the owner. The property did receive some damage from Hurricane Milton. She has been maintaining the property. I would like to amend to the January cutoff.
To do what?
She still has to paint the building.
Okay, you're gonna have it done by January 8th?
Yes.
All right, based upon the report of our inspector and the agreement of the respondent, I'm going to amend our current order of noncompliance to January 8, 2025 to allow the respondent to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Case number 16.
Yes, I will.
Hagden International College Incorporated. Anyone here for the respondent? This matter's here for the imposition of a fine, so let's hear from our inspector.
May I state your name first?
Oh, I'm sorry.
State your name.
Todd Brussels.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Inspector?
Yes, the respondent was first notified on August 18th, 2023. Since last hearing, there has been contact with the contractor. They continue to have building department progress inspections, but did receive some damage due to Hurricane Milton. Staff recommends amending compliance by the January cutoff.
Did the hurricane
Oh, yeah.
hurt our dark shell?
Yes. We have a set of FPL transformers in the basement. Unfortunately, I don't have access to those transformers. They're in a transformer vault that only FPL has access to. This used to be FPL headquarters.
Yeah.
So those transformers, after the hurricane, were sitting in about a foot of water, and they're live. So I didn't have access to the building. We had to get the water out of there to make it safe. So we had a sump pump already installed, and it was pumping out about 10 gallons a minute, so I thought that would take care of it overnight. Unfortunately, it didn't take care of it overnight, so the next day when I got there and I saw it was still full of water, I went out, rented equipment, pumped about 500 gallons out, thought that was the end of it, returned the equipment, came back the next day, basement full of water again. That kept happening until 10/23. I wasn't able to get access to the building until the 23rd. At that point, the water level got down low enough that it was no longer in the transformers. It was still in the basement, but it was no longer in the transformer room. So at that point, it was safe to enter the building. So that's when we resumed work. We passed inspection again shortly after that. We tried to do a concrete pour last Wednesday. Unfortunately, that didn't go well. I had to stop, move to another section of the building. So we finished the east wall instead of finishing the south wall. But that's where we're at now. We finished the east wall. We've only got 2 bond beams and 1 column left to do on the south wall, and then the stucco guys can get started. And while they're working on the south wall, we'll repair the soffits so that when they come around the building to the soffits, we'll be ready for them. So we should be ready by January easily.
For our dark shell
Correct.
inspection?
Correct.
So that means then you turn your attention to the interior?
Well, the owners are now planning on selling the building as a dark shell. Now, we may continue the work as they try to sell it. That's up to them. That's up to their financial situation. I can't speak to that. But we are going to put it on the market as a dark shell once I get to that point.
Okay. All right, so when were we talking about extending the compliance date to?
To the January cutoff?
What say you to that?
That's acceptable to me.
Okay. All right, based upon our inspector's report and the respondent's agreement, I will amend our current amended order of noncompliance to allow the respondent till January 8, 2025 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. So it doesn't sound like we're going to have a Hagden International College.
No, I kind of talked them out of that originally because a school is one of the hardest requirements to meet, and that building is in such poor shape. I've been trying to talk them into making it mini storage. It's perfect for mini storage, or to sell it to all aboard storage. But so far they haven't budged on that.
10-4. All right, good luck to you. Number 17, Covenant Community Development Corporation of Florida, LLC. All right, gentlemen, if you would please state your names and be sworn.
Attorney Cedric Donaldson.
If you're an attorney, you don't need to take an oath.
Yes, sir.
Your word is good.
You
Louis Bigliotti, LAV Engineering.
I'm sorry, spell your last name?
V as in Victor, Iglioti.
First name?
Louis, Louis.
You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right, continued from October hearing, progress report, engineer and set a compliance date for roof. Mr. Vigliotti, what's the progress report?
I'd like to ask for a 90-day extension to develop a feasibility study on whether or not we decide to salvage the building. And also in conjunction with that, I would like to perform an economic analysis of the feasibility of not only the building, but possibly doing a tear down and understanding what the future land use could be. And I could probably get it done in less than 90 days. However, we're coming on the up on the holidays, so I mean, I definitely can
Part
get.
of this sounds like progress.
Well, I don't know what to tell you on that. There's no progress except for determining that.
We're on our way to nothingness. I just have a hard time understanding how that constitutes progress, but.
Well, in order to do my job, I need the
You're trying
time.
to decide whether it's going to be feasible to go forward at all.
Yes.
Okay, well, that probably brings up another bag of worms, but, okay, Mr. Inspector, they want to scratch their heads on this one for a while.
At the last hearing, you had provide the engineering report by the November cutoff.
Yep.
And I have had no communication, and no report was submitted. Staff was recommending a fine of $250 with a cap of $20,000, without having any contact or any knowledge of what was going on.
Okay.
Did we have a compliance thing on that?
Yes, we had, well, what we had was an order of the engineering report to be in by November 6th.
Okay.
And
So they failed on that order?
what?
I said they failed to comply with that order?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I may.
Just a second. I'm still trying to digest how far backward we're going.
Mm-hmm. What did they do, August 15th?
Okay. Is the building secured to the city standards?
The building is secured.
Yes, sir.
And the exterior is being maintained?
Yes, sir.
What's the previous fine for?
The previous fine was for securing the building, was for windows, openings, and air conditioning openings, rotten wood.
Have they come into compliance on those?
I believe so, yes. I have not heard from the property owner for a reinspection.
I'm sorry if I may, Mr. Foucault, when you say they come into compliance, have you issued an affidavit of compliance?
No, as I said, I haven't been requested to go out and to do a review of the total building.
In the September, after the September hearing, you and I both went to the site together.
Correct, we did, and I pointed out the items that still needed to be corrected.
The items you pointed out, we had a disagreement on because they're not on the order. And so that's the reason why we were fined in the first place. And in the last hearing, you said we'll have a hearing on that later. We just wanted to address the roof issue.
I've got an order dated July 15. Covenant Community Development must secure the building to city standards and maintain the exterior. by August 7th. Did that ever happen?
That did happen, Your Honor.
Did that ever happen?
No, it did not come into compliance by that time.
Did it ever come into compliance?
I have not been back to review the whole building since the meeting we had in, you said September?
And all I've seen since then are orders of continuance and an order imposing fine August 15th, which I assume had to do with the property not being secured to city standards.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're telling me it came into compliance.
It came in compliance in July. I reached out to the inspector in July. He told me, well, if that's the case, you don't have to come to the meeting in August, which is why I didn't appear in August. Then in the September hearing, when we found out that we were fined, I tried to address it, but the court said, we're only here for an update. We'll address that later. We just needed to discuss the update. After that hearing, I went to the building with the inspector. We walked around the property again. The only issues that he had were things that weren't on the original order for the July hearing.
Okay, so what's the game plan now, Mr. Vigliotti?
I need more time to be able to do a proper structural analysis of this building, its existing conditions, and the feasibility of salvaging it. And also.
That would indicate to me then that the respondent is revisiting whether he's going to be doing anything with this building moving forward, as opposed to every prior representation to the effect that we were coming into compliance.
Was there a structural engineer ever involved in this project from the beginning?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, in order for me
I
to
don't
get
own the
involved.
property.
Well, in
If I
order
were
for
a
me to get
responsible landowner and I needed a structural engineer, there would have been a structural engineer.
Okay,
I can tell you that much.
that's you.
Yeah, that's me.
Mhm.
And I think the same way John Q. Citizen is supposed to think, whether he likes it or not, in any event. So now the respondent is revisiting whether he wants to go forward with this and is looking to you to tell him whether it's feasible.
I believe that's correct.
What's the relief the city's looking for? Mark?
Well, the relief was we were looking for a fine following the direction that was heard at the last hearing. We had asked for a fine of $250 a day with a cap of $20,000, as this roof violation was part of the original violation back in April.
Okay, do they have an order right now requiring compliance? Or am I going to say something and then someone's going to say, well, they don't have to do such and such until such and such?
There was no order of compliance. There was an order of non-compliance.
Progress report and set a compliance date for roof. I take it you're not prepared to discuss a compliance date for the roof.
No, sir.
And with regard to the notice of violation, what components are you seeking a fine for? Or are we in a position to where there's just been a total absence of compliance?
Well, where we are today is we're waiting on the roof. That was what was discussed at the last hearing. The order was for an engineering report because they said they could not do a roof repair until they had a structural engineer look at the roof. And I believe at that time it was in progress.
And how much time are you looking for to do your feasibility study?
I was going to ask for 90 days to get through the holidays, but if you want me to break this into parts, which would be performing a structural analysis of the roof, I'd be happy to take care of that ASAP, which I could get it done in the next 30 days. That would help. And develop a report.
One of the concerns that we've been getting from the citizens' complaint, as you can see from even that photo, which was part of the roof, even though it's just an overhang, is what it looks to the citizens in that neighborhood.
And if it's not feasible to go forward, what do we do?
I think that we're talking about doing a total tear down, so we would, demo the building properly, and then we would move forward towards land development and civil site process going forward based on zoning conditions and what we're allowed to do there.
Is this property secured now?
Yes, sir.
Is it being maintained now?
Yes, sir. When I was there on November 8th, the yard was being maintained. That was a big issue in the past, one of the issues, excuse me, in the past.
What is the owner's, assuming it's feasible to go forward, what is the owner's intentions for the property? Is this going to be another church?
Well, no, the owner's intention has always been to serve the community through homelessness assistance,
What does that mean?
housing, providing homeless people with resources. Same thing we do currently in Orlando, we're doing it here in Daytona. That was our intentions when we first bought the property earlier this year, and that hasn't changed.
Is Covenant Community Development Corporation of Florida LLC a nonprofit?
That is correct.
When you say the respondent wants to serve the homeless, all that aside, are we talking about out of that facility?
Yeah, so essentially what we do in Orlando is we provide different resources. It could be classes, it could be feeding the hungry, it could be washing their clothes. There's several different resources that we do in Orlando.
But my only point being, it would be out of that facility.
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay.
If
Is that facility, I'm sure I'm shoving my foot in my mouth here. Does that facility have any local historical or cultural significance as far as that building is concerned?
I'm sorry, I didn't follow you.
If I were a neighbor in the community, I'd say, I don't want that church going away. It's a nice church. It's been there forever. I'd like it to continue to be there. Or is it, no one really cares. It's just going to be turned into a something. I'm just trying to understand. I don't know if that's a landmark. I don't know if I should consider it a landmark. I don't hear anybody talking about it having any historical significance, but it looks to me like a nice church. It's probably been there for a long time. I would hate to see it just go away. That's just me thinking.
In the event it's salvageable, should we maybe have a city meeting to see if anybody wants to speak on its behalf?
I don't know. Apparently, I'm giving it more reverence than any reverence. Good word. Than anyone else is. Okay. All right. Well, I am not wild about just knocking down churches. How long's that building been there? Anybody know?
I believe it's been there for over 100 years.
I would think so. I'm going to give you your 90 days. So, and in the interim, it's to be secured to city standards, and it's to be maintained. As far as the local citizenry is concerned, I'm hoping it's going to be a restored building that's going to be an asset to the community, and they'll just have to bear with their unpredictable special magistrate in the interim. So I'm expecting a progress report from the respondent. I assume that would be the two of you. What is this, November, December, January, February, at our February 11, 2025 meeting.
Absolutely.
10-4?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good luck to you.
Thank you.
May want to get resolve that open fine, so get with the inspector so they can get that taken care of.
Yeah, it sounds like you need to call for an inspection with regard to that running fine.
I was gonna improve or maxed out if it hadn't already.
I mean, I'm sure you'll be talking about it later, but you definitely want to cap it, so I'd be calling for an inspection on that one ASAP.
Yeah.
We're just trying to help you.
Yep. Well, here,
All right, number 18, Mesa Nova Daytona LLC. Anyone here for the respondent?
give me a call. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, who all do we have present?
Daniel Parker, general contractor.
Ephraim Brody, owner.
And who else?
Ephraim Brody, owner.
Okay, gentlemen, you need to be sworn by our secretary.
I'm sorry, state your name again?
Ephraim
Daniel
Brody.
Parker. Okay.
I heard you. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, bear with me 1 second.
Daniel Parker, Ephraim Brody.
Okay, this matter is here for the imposition of a fine. Let's hear from our inspector.
A respondent was first notified of violation on October 16, 2023, and code continues to get complaints about the parking lot, potholes, and the lighting. At last hearing on October 8, 2024, it was ordered that the potholes and lighting be corrected by the November cutoff, November 6th, or be returned for the consideration of a fine at the November hearing. I have had contact with the property owners. The lighting and the potholes were not corrected by the November 6th cutoff. In fact, if you look at some of the photos, this is what they were doing last evening at 7 o'clock, trying to repair the lighting. And these are the potholes that were there still on November 6th. Staff is recommending a fine of $500 a day with a cap of $70,000.
Okay. Describe for me to the extent that you can, the effort put forth by the respondent to try to keep up and to repair and/or keep up with potholes since our prior meeting.
Well, as the photos show, the potholes were not being maintained. In fact, we're still there on November 6th. So I don't believe they were maintaining the potholes. And the lighting, as I said, they were working on last night at 7 o'clock. I do not know if that has now been corrected, but as you can see from the photos, it's very dark in that parking lot over by the plaza where they have a bingo hall there, and it's just very dark when they come out in the middle of the night because there was no lighting shown for this parking area. So my feeling is they have not been continued to maintain it as directed.
Okay, what say the respondent?
Yeah, hi, how are you, sir? Yeah, so lights are now 100% operational. We definitely had some setbacks. We had a tornado hit the building. It's not your problem. We had basically a roof rip off. So, I mean, we've been working diligently to clean up the whole property itself. Probably 50,000 square foot roof ended up in the parking lot. So we fixed the potholes, we cleaned the whole property up, and all the lights are functional. We definitely missed the deadline for November 6th due to all the other work we were doing, but everything's compliant as of today.
So,
And I believe we sent an,
so.
yeah,
you-
sorry, one
you
thing,
trying
and
to
we
tell
sent
me
an
the
email.
Hurricane interrupted your ability to come into compliance?
This is true.
How so?
We lost probably 65,000 square feet of the property, got damaged. 50,000 square foot roof came off and ended up into the parking lot. We had to have FPL shut the power so we could remove it because it was laying on a telephone pole and a power line. It was a disaster. I mean, and we're basically in compliance now with the cleanup, and the potholes got fixed last night. I know it was last minute, but they're done and the parking lot's fully lit. And we sent an email out this last night around 9 o'clock, showing pictures done, showing the potholes done. I'm not sure if the code compliance officer has a chance to look at his emails.
Our last meeting was October 8th. Was Hurricane Milton after that? I guess it was.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine aside, how much time should be required for them to come into compliance? And I assume you're going to say January 8, 2025.
Well, the concern is still the whole development of that project. That will be what would cause it to come into compliance. And as of today, I have not seen any permits submitted for the development. The reason they say they aren't correcting all the lighting issues or repairing the parking lot correctly is because they plan on redeveloping the whole project. The potholes, if they've patched in the past, they come right back. You know, as he stated, they did it last evening. That would mean they just used a cold patch. Those don't typically last very long. As you can
That's
see,
correct.
You can see the numerous areas on that photo where they've patched it in the past, and it just keeps reoccurring.
Okay, and we established a compliance date for the respondent to come into compliance in toto. I'm looking at intervening orders talking about potholes. Potholes have just been a recurring topic here. As it presently stands, when are they supposed to be in compliance with this notice of violation?
Well, they were here for I believe, they were also going to give a progress report, although I'm not sure if that was what the order stated. I thought the order stated that they were also going to be providing a progress report in January as to the status of the whole development.
When?
Says continued, scheduled January 14th. Order of continuance. Continues as we remain in compliance as we maintain and repair the potholes, including the lighting. And number 6, subsequent hearing for consideration and imposition of a fine for the order. The case will continue to the January meeting for the determination of compliance date for all other remaining violations.
January when?
So, January 14th. So today was to address the potholes and the lighting, and we're given till January for them to, for all other, for the road project.
Okay, so they're supposed to be in compliance by January 14th, or we're just supposed to talk about it some more? I'm sorry, what now?
Continued to January to set date for the overall project.
And I don't know if they addressed all the lighting in the parking area.
Do we know what the overall project consists of?
My understanding is they're planning on doing a complete redevelopment of this area, which would go through this development department, then go in through permits and licensing. Would include all the site work that needed to be required to bring this property into compliance.
Gentlemen, what is the overall project?
Can I jump in, Mr. Brody? Yeah, we have, parking lot, restriping, landscaping, facade work, and painting.
And do you have any idea how long all that, I mean, you haven't started on any of that, have you?
No, Mr. Brody bought the property from All Aboard, Storage, and they supposedly had a permit ready. They didn't. I'm not trying to push blame around, but, finally they got a submittal, I believe last week, according to the emails. I haven't seen a process number yet. We sent them an email yesterday. What's the process number? But they were supposedly supposed to send the approved plans back into the city for us to pull a permit. Mr. Brody's definitely more anxious than probably even us to get the project done, so we can actually, rent the property where it's supposed to be rented for.
Okay, do we have any guesstimate as to how long the project, whatever it may be, is going to take to build?
Once permit in hand, we're probably 45 to 60 days out to do the whole project.
So your entire project is something that can be completed once the permits are in hand within 60 days?
60 days, yeah. It's not that much work. I mean, sounds like it is, but it isn't.
And that at least contemplates redoing the parking lot, painting the parking lot, then you mentioned some facade work and some landscaping.
That's correct, sir.
What has any damage caused by our last hurricane done to your project?
The roof, facade, areas of the facade would be the eastern side of the building. The separate building, freestanding building, pretty much got destroyed for the roof end of it. So we're going to be doing a roof, but that shouldn't affect the parking, at least the front parking lot. We can actually, our trucks will be in the back side of the back alley parking lot. At least the front will be secured and cleaned and done. Insides are got destroyed. We have a school. There's basically got, the roof came off, so all the water came in. It's just a mess. But that still has nothing to do with the outside.
All right, what are you doing in the interim about potholes?
We filled them last night as a temporary repair, like a cold patch, like the inspector said. It's not going to last.
Okay,
it's just another 30.
just for my benefit, when you say it's not going to last, how long do they last?
Somewhere between 30 to 45 days. Maybe the inspector will confirm that. It's usually, usually it's not that long. Hopefully we'll have the permit out. That's why we don't want to spend money on a proper fix versus a temporary fix and then redo the parking lot again. It's just, it's like a circle. We're wasting money. That's all it is. We just want to get done and we can't.
All right, Mr. Inspector, did I understand you to say they are filling potholes, albeit by way of a cold patch that everybody knows isn't going to last?
I have not seen the parking lot patching done. They said they did it last night. So I did not observe it this morning and was able to take photographs of it. And this is the first I heard their delay was due to some sort of roof damage that was removed. So I did not know that was causing them some sort of delay.
So I'm sorry, Mr. Contractor, what's your name again?
Can I
Daniel Parker.
Can I interject for a minute?
Sure.
There was an email sent out to the inspector, Mr. Jones, and he responded that he knows there was damage from the hurricane on the property, and he knows there were delays because of that. I have an email from him stating that. He knows that. He knows that we had delays on the work because of that. So he's saying now that he doesn't have any hurricane damage. I have an email from him stating the opposite.
Okay. Mr. Contractor, what's your name again?
Daniel Parker, sir.
Daniel what?
Parker? Parker?
Parker?
Parker. My Bostonian accent kill you, right?
Okay. What's the status of the potholes right now?
Done, covered with coal patch.
Okay. And what's the status of the lighting right now?
Complete. The whole parking lot's lit up. Every single light's working, including the back alley.
Okay, well, my inclination is to ask our inspector to go back out there and satisfy himself that the lighting's been taken care of, just like the contractor has indicated, and that the potholes have been patched. And I understand they're cold patch, but to be perfectly honest, I don't know what anybody expects, given the fact that the project that we're now going to be talking about, I assume, entails repaving the entire parking lot. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so I guess all I can reasonably expect them to do is patch potholes until that's done. So, I'm going to Okay, I'm going to amend our current order of noncompliance as to the potholes and the lighting to January 8, 2025. Failing the respondents coming into compliance on those items will result in the matter being returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. I am assuming
Understood.
the inspector is going out to the property to satisfy himself that the lighting has been taken care of and the potholes have been fixed, albeit temporarily, I understand that, as per the representations of the contractor. So, I assume you'll satisfy yourself as to that. If it turns out the city's of the opinion that there's non-compliance by January 8 of 2025, I will take that into consideration regarding any request for the imposition of a fine. And on January 14, 2025, I guess we will be revisiting this matter to discuss a compliance date for the overall project, which preliminary indications seem to indicate should take about 60 days to complete once the permit is in hand. I'm not holding anybody to anything. That's just the information I'm working off of right now.
That's correct.
I'm not finding the respondent right now. I'm taking the respondent at his word when he tells me the lighting and the potholes have been addressed. Please go out and see, satisfy yourself that that has in fact been done. If it hadn't been done, then make a note of it and bring it up, then bring it up later. I'm amending our current order of noncompliance. By doing so, I'm intending for the respondent to continue doing whatever work is necessary to maintain the lighting and maintain the potholes in this interim period until we discuss the project on January 14th. So are we all on the same page?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, good luck to y'all.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, that brings us to lien review number 1. Am I to understand we have a resolution?
Yes, may I approach? I don't believe anyone's on Zoom, but I'll ask our IT.
Oh, good. Okay, what are you handing me here?
Oh, that's just acknowledging that I spoke with the the counsel for the respondents for these lien reviews. As I said, it's the same respondent on both of them, lien review 1 and 2. And we, in assessing what their request was and the circumstances as they are today, the city agreed with them as to waiving the liens on each property. And so that's what we're announcing, and that's what he's acknowledging in that email.
Okay, lien review 1. All right, 710 Loomis Avenue. We're waiving a $15,024 fine and lien. In light of the circumstances, what are the circumstances?
Well, one, you saw their application, they explained a lot of situations related to economic stuff. But in addition to that, there was an ultimate decision of the city to repeal our rental ordinance, so we no longer have a rental ordinance. Some of the delay was small. We were considering that. You may recall we had a period when we were continuing it as we were looking at some decisions that the city wanted to make related to the rental licensing ordinance. And so that was repealed about middle of October, I believe. And ultimately, we concluded that based on the overall circumstances that there was a reasonable outcome for us to waive. I think some of the minutes would show that the primary delay was us waiting for them to be able to obtain that license, which they were electing not to pursue.
Okay. So I presume there's an order somewhere in the record where I find the respondent.
Yes.
And I assume a lien was actually recorded or not?
Recorded, yes.
Okay.
So we'll do, when we say waiver, we'll release the lien.
Okay. Then I guess based on the stipulation between the city and the respondent, I'm going to vacate my previous order imposing fine and cancel and/or release the lien for said fine recorded by the city. Period. Does that do it?
That sounds like it, yes.
So I'm vacating my order imposing a fine, and since a lien was recorded, I'm canceling and I'm releasing and canceling the lien. So I guess you don't file a satisfaction, I guess you just file some kind of cancellation.
Yeah, we file a release generally, right? We'll do the release of lien.
Well, you guys know more than I do.
Yeah.
Okay, lien review, that was at 710 Loomis. Lien review 2 is at 935 South Martin Luther King Boulevard. And we're doing the same thing there for the same reasons?
Yes.
Okay, with regard to lien review number 2, 935 South Martin Luther King Boulevard, I am vacating our previous order imposing fine and further ordering that the lien that was recorded be released and canceled of record.
Okay.
That do that?
Yep, that's
Anything
it.
else? Any miscellaneous business to be brought before the special magistrate?
No, happy, what do we have? Happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas.
There we go, same, back at you. All right, we're adjourned.